on today's show.
We're going to Game 7, baby! Game 7!
That's right, Zaza. We'll get you all set for tonight's huge Game 7 between the Warriors and Thunder.
Bones joins us to discuss Clay's Game 6 performance and which team the Cavs would rather face.
And we debate whether the Raptors should offer DeMar DeRozan the max.
It's Monday, May 30th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, sweet world, and welcome to the starters. Whether you're listening to the podcast or joining us live on NBA TV or a little bit later on YouTube, we're happy to have you. I'm Jay Skeets, and alongside me, as always, as Tas Mellis.
Is it 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific yet? I can't even talk.
Not yet.
When does it start?
To his right, it's the international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friend.
Lily.
You look great for 40.
Thank you. I feel great.
Good.
Naughty 40.
And last, certainly not least, over there, starters blog editor, Trey Kirby.
Hey
Oh, TK, what do you have for us?
Guys, I'm here at the internet looking for your best tweets at #TheStarters. And we've got a big one to watch tonight, y'all. No, not week 2 of The Bachelorette, though I'm very excited to see if JoJo finds her forever love. But that's gonna have to wait until tomorrow because tonight is the biggest game of the season so far. Warriors, Thunder, Game 7, 9 p.m. Eastern, as Tess told you.
Correct.
Only on TNT. And we wanna know what y'all thinking about the game, which is why we're running a live poll right now where you can pick the winner. If you're rolling with the Thunder, you think they're gonna win, blast out a tweet that says #StartersThunder. If you think the Warriors are gonna win, the tweet is #StartersWarriors. Me, I'm voting for the Dubs, so I'll get my #StartersWarriors in right now, and we want y'all to do the same. So go get your votes in, and we'll check the results a little bit later in the show.
All right, let's hear who you think's going to win this big Game 7 tonight. Got a fun show. Brent Barry is going to stop by the studio in the Bone Zone. We'll have some questions for him. And we're going to look ahead at the Raptors' very interesting off-season decisions. A lot of decisions for Masai Ujiri and that squad. But first, look, we already said it. All eyes on TNT tonight. 9 p.m. Eastern. Let's confirm it again.
Correct.
Game 7, Western Conference Finals between the Thunder and the Warriors. Dubs trying to become the first team since the '81 Celtics to come back from a 3-1 deficit in the conference finals. So, feels like a perfect time to play a little true or false Western Conference Finals edition. Zaza, help us out.
We're going to Game 7, baby!
That's right, Game 7, baby. Game 7! So, true or false questions here. I'm asking the guys at the desk. I'm obviously asking all of you on Twitter, #TheStarters, true or false. First one, true or false? Let's just cut to the chase here. The Thunder blew their chance to win this series by giving up Game 6 over the weekend.
I think it's true. I'm not dumb enough to say they can't win tonight, but it was just laid out so perfectly for OKC on Saturday night. Durant Westbrook didn't play all that well, but you still have a great chance, up 7 with 5 minutes left, still up 3 with 3 minutes left. All you have to do is take very good shots down the stretch, but they didn't take shots at all.
No, they turned it over.
They stopped shooting because they turned it over 6 times in the last 3 minutes. They had turned it over 9 times in the first 45 minutes of the game, and in the last 3 minutes, 6 turnovers and 4 shots. More turnovers than shots, and a couple of those shots were only made because they got offensive rebounds. That's how bad it was. When your role players shoot 54% and get you to a spot where you can close it out as the stars of this team, and you don't, you really shot yourself in the foot. And I don't think that KD and Russ would put it any differently. They fumbled this game away. They literally fumbled it away. When you look at that number, that huge yellow 6, the last 3 minutes, again, 9 to get to that point and then 6 in the last 3 minutes. I don't know how else you can put it. This was their golden opportunity.
They certainly blew a great chance, there's no doubt about it. But they do have one more chance, even though it's tonight in Oracle Arena. But they've already won there once, and they've played 2 other games there very well. So I still think they're a very good chance tonight. You mentioned you don't want to say they've got no chance because they're a very good team. They've got no injuries or anything like that. But they probably will be kicking themselves if they do lose tonight because they were 3 minutes away, really, from the NBA Finals. And it was their guys, Russ and KD. They couldn't take care of it. And Andre Iguodala, we've got to mention, his defense was brilliant, and
Amazing.
Steph Curry's defense was brilliant. So the Warriors deserve credit for their defense, but the Thunder probably did get a little bit tight.
And that's what everyone's sort of debating after that Game 6 on Saturday. It was like, did the Warriors, and Klay Thompson especially, and the defense from Iguodala, did they take that game, or did the Thunder, like you sort of pointed out there, did they just literally give it away with all those bad turnovers?
Yeah, 2 negatives, I think, for OKC going into Game 7 here. They obviously saw the Warriors as the title winners in the last few minutes of that game and just didn't play up to the level of the champs, right? I mean, that was clear the way they looked across the floor and then just fumbled it away. They weren't ready. And second thing, when they gave that game away during the regular season, that Saturday night that we remember Steph Curry's brilliant shot from 34.5 feet, 37.5 feet. It gets longer every time we tell that story. The next game that they played in Golden State, they lost by double digits. So that's a bad sign for me going into Game 7.
But it took an incredible performance from Klay Thompson as well. Like 11 three-pointers. I mean, the Thunder, everyone else was really struggling for the Warriors, and Klay kept them in it. And then he hit those couple of huge bombs that just seemed to bring them within a possession or two. I mean, they lost to an incredible performance.
Oh, yeah, this is why the Warriors won this game. 11 threes by anybody, plus the defense from Andre Iguodala down the stretch.
Yeah.
Basically, the Warriors made every play they needed to make, and the Thunder didn't. So I give the credit to the Warriors.
Oh, man. This was one of the best games I can remember over the last 10, 15 years, whatever you want to throw at it. Like, in terms of entertainment, especially when you were thinking, and the Thunder still had the lead. Despite Klay hitting all those threes, the Thunder still had the lead for a good chunk of this game, and you're thinking, wow, this is it. This is it. They're going to lose here. As a team that won 73 games in the regular season, they of course find a way to win it. It was unbelievable, and we're going to talk to Bones about Klay Thompson's shooting performance, especially Bones being a shooter himself in the league. Just how unreal. Like Marv Albert, he's called what, games for 50 years? I mean, close to 50 years.
A bit longer than that, but yeah, 50.
And he was saying in the broadcast on a couple of these where Klay is just in the zone, he's on fire. He was shooting it at times, I thought, where he wasn't even, he was rising before he was even looking at the basket.
Yeah.
And Marv was pointing out, that's like something I've never seen before. You know, when Marv's saying that was pretty special.
There's just such a difference for your role players at home. You get such great performances from them for OKC at home. Is that going to happen again? And also the 50-50 balls going your way at home. Is that going to happen again? It's unlikely, even though Steve Kerr says, you know, we're not going to jump to conclusions and not start Andre Iguodala right away. He's unlikely to start him this game. It just feels like everything's going to go their way to start this game, and the Thunder are going to get in such a big hole. It's hard not to think that way.
Any game, though, when you have Durant and Westbrook, is winnable. Because we could easily come tomorrow, you know, we had the Klay game. We could easily be sitting here tomorrow and saying, well, that was the Durant game, or that was the Westbrook game. But we know those guys, I think to some extent, they're going to probably get their 30, 35 each. They're going to put in 70 to 80 points. Who's going to be the third guy? Who's going to be the role player for the Thunder to help them out? It's got to be Waiters, who's been great in wins, brutal in losses, or an Ibaka or a Robertson. And that's got to come on the road, which is obviously much more difficult. All right, next one here, true or false? If OKC does lose tonight, Trey's coughing up a lung over there.
Yeah, we're all nervous.
First time drinking water. Jeez.
Jeez, man, take it easy. All right, if OKC loses tonight, true or false here, Lee? We'll throw this out at you. KD will leave in free agency. True or false?
False for me. I think his still best situation to try to win a championship is in Oklahoma City. I don't think he wants to leave Russell Westbrook either. And I think he realises that even if they go down, they lost to one of the best teams we've ever seen in the league.
Right. No shame in that.
No, exactly. No, even though they lost 3-1, and people will certainly criticise him, but that's going to happen anyway. Even if he loses in the finals, people will still criticise him. But he's also the guy, to me, who doesn't want to be considered to be riding anyone else's coattails, whether he chose to go to Golden State or San Antonio or anywhere. I think he wants to try to win what he's established already in Oklahoma City. And Sam Presti's a great GM. He's going to get other players. He's going to get new players. I think KD feels his best opportunity to win is with the guys he's got right now.
Yeah, I agree. This is unfinished business for KD if they don't win, right? He hasn't put forth his best games during this series. You know, he shot a Charles Barkley-esque, like 26% from the three-point line. That's just not KD. So he's got to come back to finish. We always talk about OKC. They haven't been healthy since the last time they went to the finals. Well, now they're healthy. And if they lose this one, it just feels like he's got to come back to finish the job.
Maybe sign a short-term deal with the idea of signing another massive contract. You get almost giving it another test run here of a year or two.
Either way, he's getting max money at some point. Maybe he takes it now. Who knows?
We'll see. All right, final one here. True or false, guys? $29,000 is a reasonable price for courtside seats. I'm sure you saw the report going around, Darren Rovell on ESPN, on the secondary market. 2 tickets, $29,000 each going for this Game 7. Is that reasonable, true or false?
I find that quite reasonable.
Yeah,
that's why I made that purchase, and that's why that's why there is nothing left in this because I spent $29K.
Who are you taking?
Cash?
Yeah. Credit, just charge it, baby. Hey. Don't look at that CC.
Don't zoom in
How
on
dare you? How dare you?
Well, I think, Lee, you've never paid for tickets in your life.
No, I certainly wouldn't be paying $29,000 for a conference finals game.
Oh,
either.
excuse me.
Oh.
No,
Excuse
listen,
me.
if you've got that sort of money to throw around, I hope you're donating $100,000 to charity tonight. Do the right thing. 60 bags for a couple of tickets to the final.
Bags?
Get out of
So
here.
you-
Bags of
again.
sand. Yeah.
So you said conference finals. You might do it for the finals.
Well, Game 7 of the finals. I mean, again, I don't know if I've got $29,000 to throw around.
Would you
but-
rather
don't
have
know.
Would you rather have these 2 tickets to the courtside game or a 2016 Jeep Wrangler?
Give me the Jeep Wrangler. I need
want a
new
Jeep
car.
Wrangler?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I do need one.
About
Thanks.
the same price. All right, let's hear from you guys. $29,000 for one
for a Jeep
ticket,
Wrangler.
courtside Game 7, Thunder Warriors. Are you in on that or not? All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, Brent Sperry is back in the building to weigh in on Clay's unbelievable shooting performance and the significance of LeBron making 6 straight finals. Don't go anywhere.
Cheap gas guzzler.
Into the Bone Zone, 2-time NBA champ Brent Barry joining
It's an
us.
original.
Yeah. You know, you sing no wedgies at the end.
I do
We
sing
haven't had
no
a
wedgies.
wedgie forever.
Since you called the last one, I
Yeah,
think.
that's right.
Yeah.
I happened to be there for the playoff wedgie
Yeah,
with,
it's
been a drought.
with Iron Eagle.
What are we stuck on? 44, it says up on the board
Yeah.
there
Wow.
behind us.
Wasn't 50? Weren't you trying to?
Yeah.
50 was
We
kind
had
of
42,
Still
I think,
trying,
going into
Bones,
the
to be
playoffs.
honest.
Yeah.
Well, we got some games left.
NBA
Need
players
some
are
bad
just too good.
shooting.
Potentially 8 games to
Yeah,
go.
we almost won a game. That's tough.
I would say in the 80s, 50 wedgies, no problem. Nowadays, players are too good.
And the 3-point line tougher. Do you think it's tougher to wedgie from 3?
I think the
Or
distance
better
and the weight
chances.
helps it. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
okay.
But what do I know? All right.
We'll throw Schumann on it.
Yeah. Start cranking those stats
Yeah,
out.
exactly.
All right. Let's play a little fill in the blank here with
right.
you. Okay. First one. You.
By
said-
the way, real quick before
Yeah.
you get to it, are we more excited? Were we more excited about Game 6 or are we more excited about 7? I feel a little exhausted
Game
after
6.
Yeah.
6.
Game 6.
Yeah.
I was
I'm-
more jazzed for 6.
I think so. I'm worried that Game 7 can live up
it make
to
sense?
what.
Yeah,
happened
no,
in Game
you're
six.
you're entirely right. I think people are already a little disappointed or feel sorry for OKC going into this game. I mean, it's a little premature.
No Warrior fans are feeling sorry for
No, but a lot of people, just in the casual
Yeah.
fan, feels sorry for OKC and how it ended.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Steve.
That's all right. No, well, we're talking about Game 6 here. I want you to fill in the blank because again, you were a shooter in the NBA. Fill in the blank. Clay's record-breaking performance there in Game 6 was as breathtaking as blank.
As Nora on your wedding day?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Too close? Too soon?
Well, we
Too close to
technically
home?
actually didn't have a real wedding.
Okay,
I mean,
well.
we got married in a courthouse, so.
I-
Yeah, but anyway, thank you.
As breathtaking as, how about as Steph Curry's overtime performance
Oh, so-
against Portland?
Okay.
I felt like Steph's was a short fuse where obviously overtime, bang, he gets it going, but boy, this is like a long-range missile, the way Clay just kept going and going. One of the interesting facts about, well, 2 actually, in the 11 threes that Clay made, 9 of them were swishes,
Yeah.
no rim whatsoever. You just saw 1 off the rim. But how about of all 11, none of them happened with the Warriors having the lead.
Yeah.
To me, that was fascinating that none of them were really in a comfortable spot in the game. They all meant something for the Golden State Warriors as they went on. What a night. As Reggie Miller-like a performance that I've witnessed from a shooter, specifically a shooting guard, that I can remember.
You would actually, if you're Billy Donovan, you would live with those shots before they went in, wouldn't you, some of them? Like the one from half court nearly.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You're saying, okay,
Yeah,
go
take
ahead and
that.
take those.
And knock them all in, yeah.
Yeah, he just kept hitting him.
It was awesome. It was
As
awesome.
Steve Kerr says, we borderline on crazy at times, right?
Yeah, the
way we-
chaos points that they talk about in the series, and it was chaotic for Clay all game long. It was really remarkable.
It was amazing. All right, well, let's jump over to the Eastern Conference. On Friday night, Cavs move on, take care of the Raptors in 6. I want you to fill in the blank.
There's a shocker. Cavs are in the finals. Who
Well,
would've
that's
thought
exactly
that?
it.
Yeah.
Fill in this blank here. LeBron making 6 straight finals is more impressive than blank.
More impressive than AC Green's streak.
Which one?
Exactly. Thank you, Lee. No, it's. I think. I mean, just as a player and having the opportunity to play on teams that reach the finals, and also the next year about how much stress there is and strain on trying to get back there. For LeBron to do it as a player, again, with different teams, with different sets of players' skill set is one thing, but you also have to remember about what a coach represents and the fact that there's a different language and a nomenclature that you have to learn with the coach. They've had a coaching change this season. It was under Blatt last year, then Lou takes over. So with all of those things happening and swirling around LeBron James, he's still the one constant and gets himself back to a sixth finals. It's a remarkable, remarkable thing.
What do you say to that? What do you say to that? I mean, let's call them the haters out there that say, "Well, yeah, LeBron 6 straight finals, awesome. Who cares? It was in the East."
Well, who else has done it? I mean, that's the whole point. Is how difficult it is. If the Warriors get
James
back after
Jones
winning,
has done it as well.
James Jones, exactly. Great point. Thanks for calling me out on that. That's just a tired argument. It's not appreciating how great LeBron James. First of all, how great LeBron James is, but how much he's elevated those around him to also achieve what they have in front of them, and that's another chance to bring Cleveland the championship.
All right, final one here. Fill in the blank. The Cavs would rather face blank in the finals.
Well, I don't think there's any question that OKC is who they would rather face. They could tell you they want to play the Warriors because of last year and the storylines that it creates with the mismatch and the injuries, but they would rather face, with the matchups, an OKC team, which they've dominated. I think LeBron James is 17-4 against Kevin Durant's teams. They won the last 10 against them, so OKC would be preferable.
Yeah, they were
preferable, whichever
probably
way
going for the Warriors,
whatever you prefer.
In Game 6, but now the Thunder in Game 7 and triple overtime no matter what, just so that whoever comes in is going to be pretty heavy-legged on Thursday.
And by the way, if you are contemplating $29,000, whether you would go or not, and you don't know if you have it, then you don't have it. It's kind of.
I've got a big couch at home. I haven't dug underneath it, you know.
Bones, as always, thanks for joining us.
You know what I know that you don't know? The rest of our wives' names. You know Nora, obviously.
You're right.
Yeah.
What else you got, Bones?
That's it.
Thanks a lot, Taz.
Shout out to Danielle, Laura, and Roxy. All right, Bones.
Danielle, Laura, Roxy, hello. Love you,
back.
Nora.
Welcome back to the starters. On Friday night, guys, the Cavaliers crushed the Raptors 113-87 to clinch the Eastern Conference Finals. That means LeBron James is going to his 6th straight finals. Feat not done since the 60s Celtics teams, unless, of course, you're counting LeBron's teammate, James Jones. We're going to officially bury the Raptors on tomorrow's show. But today, GM Masai Ujiri held his season-ending media availability. He addressed a number of topics, which I thought we could do right here. The first one is the most obvious one, biggest question mark for the Raptors this offseason. Will the Raptors offer DeMar DeRozan the max money contract? What do you think?
They do not offer him the max unless they get better before July 1st, because they're going to paint themselves into a corner and basically say, we're going forward with the same team if they offer him the max without Bismack Biyombo.
Right.
And does that get you an NBA championship? I don't think so. I think if you can turn Terrence Ross, a guy who they signed an extension to, plus their draft pick, which is number 9 this year, into a better 4 or so, then they can offer DeMar that money and potentially get Bismack Biyombo back as well, because they get rid of that $10 million. Masai Ujiri has painted himself into a corner a little bit before with the Denver Nuggets, handing out a bunch of big contracts. I think he wants to get better before he decides that DeMar is our ceiling. You know, because that's what we saw going into that conference finals. They didn't have a shot, and that's what you're saying to your team.
Yeah.
Basically, if you give DeMar $150 million over 5 years, that's basically what a max deal would be.
Yeah, but he's got to be careful, though, because there will be plenty of teams who want to throw big dollars at DeMar DeRozan. So what you're saying does make sense, but then DeMar might also find that other teams are showing more interest in him first, and that could lure him away to somewhere, particularly Los Angeles. We know he's from LA. The Lakers are said to be interested in him. They've got tons of cap space. So unless DeRozan does agree to what you're saying there with Masai, then it could be a little bit of a tight balancing act for him to make sure that he doesn't lose him for nothing.
I don't think it's DeMar agreeing to a number. I think it's the Raptors saying, hey, if we sign DeMar, with the state that we're in, we're not going to be a championship team. I don't think it has anything to do with DeMar's desires. How many peak years does Kyle Lowry have? What else do we have on our team?
Yeah, but if they lose him for nothing, though, that's going to look bad, I think, on Masai.
Yeah, but he also has to sell his guys on the fact that we're not a championship team. And I think that's why he said today, that's a question for later. We're not going to decide that
yeah.
right now. That's why we have to probably get rid of Terrence Ross, he's already signed an extension to, and possibly a pick, their assets, to get some more talent back, likely at the 4 spot. And then make the decision later, because you're basically saying, hey, this is what we got.
Yeah.
You know,
You're almost
unless
praying
you make
for
a
an
deal.
injury to a LeBron James or something.
Yeah.
Someone It's almost reminiscent a little bit to me of like Joe Johnson with the Hawks. Great player, puts up points, but is he a guy that you can really turn to lead you to a championship?
Yeah,
I think the answer to that is no.
Yeah.
But can you let a guy like that go? If you want to win 50, 55 games and at least be in the conversation for going deep in the playoffs, that's a huge question. You know, you brought up Biyombo. What do you think about the idea of the Raps, should they sign him if they can? Because we don't know what even this guy's going to warrant on the market.
Yeah, I thought at the beginning of this postseason there was a chance that he could come back, and then as the playoff rounds continued to go on, he just continued to earn himself millions upon millions upon millions. You're already paying Jonas Valanciunas a hefty sum at the center spot. How much can you pay for a backup center?
Can't play them together.
Yeah.
That's the other part.
And honestly, Valanciunas needs to be a bigger part of the offense once he's healthy next season anyways, because he was just as good as Biyombo was through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. You're not going to spend $40 million on Jonas Valanciunas and Bismack Biyombo to be your centers. So if you can get him for cheap, that's cool, but it's probably not happening.
Yeah, defensively, Bismack does some things that Jonas can't, but Masai said emphatically, Jonas is going to be a big part of our offense, and I think that speaks to if they offer DeMar a max.
Yeah.
The max as well.
To max money. You're absolutely right. Let's hear from you Raptors fans out there. What do you do? DeMar, Biyombo.
Biyombo said he's coming back, though.
Oh, they all throw out the hometown discount
Yeah.
out there.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That's possible.
It's
Yeah, for
possible.
1 million,
It'd have to
not
be
20.
quite the discount, though. We will see when we come back. Lili's very solid play. Is it from Friday or Saturday night? Oh, it's from Friday night. Spoiler. Back with the starters, time for Lee's very solid play. Lee.
We're going to Toronto on Friday night for a gentle boomerang from Kyrie Irving, and watch this beautiful bounce pass from LeBron. Look at that, threading the needle, and a beautiful finish there from Kyrie. Kind of sexy, but still solid because it was a layup. Here it is again, watch this. Look at that pass, gorgeous. That's what I call a very solid play.
Very solid. Now it's time for the highlight that wasn't, because Lee Ellis requested it. This wasn't a part of our show until Lee said, hey, are you going to get that shot in from Kyrie Irving? It's a beautiful shot. And I think one thing we don't talk about with Kyrie Irving, the man is very, very strong. Just because he's undersized at the PG spot, we don't really talk about him being strong.
Anchor.
He just fired that.
Didn't count.
First time someone's had the very solid highlight that wasn't double.
Oh,
You're giving me a headache, man. I don't even know what you're saying right now. You're just messing with my head at this point. Very solid, very
got the double.
unsolid.
Very
you got the
solid
double.
highlight that wasn't double.
Yeah.
All right. Steph
All right.
Curry showing up. Is that a Michael Jackson jacket?
That's like
If it was red, it'd be perfect.
Beat it, man.
Yeah.
Looking good.
Steph Curry, Kevin Durant. Game 7. What's left to say? Thunder Warriors tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern on TNT. Coverage starts at 8, so make sure you jump over there and see the guys. Predictions. Dubs.
Warriors in a close one.
Dubs.
Warriors.
Dubs.
I'm afraid it might be a blowout. I'm afraid.
What'd the people say? Do we even know? All right. I'm sure they
It
picked the
looks
Warriors.
like they are also Warriors fans.
There we go.
You guys are going to be right.
Brace the game, people.
Thanks for joining us, folks. And remember,
7. Cool.